Hi everyone, my name is Lucas Chartier. I'm an emergency physician in Toronto and a medical director for quality and safety for my hospital, the University Health Network. I'm also the chair of the Quality Improvement and Patient Safety Committee at CAEP, and it is in this capacity that I want to chat with you about a couple of things today. I noticed in CGEM a few articles that caught my attention, and I wanted to share them with you. As you know, CGEM has been responsive to the needs of the readership over the course of the pandemic and has really worked hard to make sure that the articles published were high value, high yield, and were going to be impactful for you and your community. This is why, as the pandemic has evolved and we are figuring out what it is that we want to keep in the future and not miss from this pandemic, virtual care is obviously a no-brainer. And I think that many of you will find the article by Sarah Reid and colleagues and the editorial by Kendall Ho very insightful and very useful to your practices as you're trying to figure out how to do this well in your own setting potentially. A couple of articles that I thought were quite interesting, especially in contrast, starting with the one on the left by Dolman and colleagues, where they introduced a new COVID-19 intubation protocol in their local setting and saw a tremendous increase and improvement in the outcomes for their patients in terms of first pass success. Contrast this on the right with a study just one province over where the introduction of a choosing wisely guideline did not lead to a change in a transfusion of patients with iron deficiency anemia. And this to me demonstrates the really strong value proposition of QI methodology in science, where really if you try to apply to the local setting things in a different way, in a deliberate way, much more likely to have some successes, although obviously as always, tremendous learnings to be had from all of those projects regardless of the eventual outcome. Another project that really demonstrates this value proposition by colleagues of mine, where the team focused on wide stakeholder engagement, education of both staff, but also providers and non-providers, as well as changing the policies with regards to massive hemorrhage protocol activation. And they were able to lead to a small but patient-oriented difference in the time in which it took for patients to receive blood. And that can make a huge difference to the patient in front of us. Again, focusing on the local people in the local setting to be able to improve the system. I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention this paper, which was published as a result of the CAEP Academic Symposium on research from 1 year ago. And all of the colleagues that you can see work really hard with stakeholders across the country to focus on recommendations to enhance the collaboration between the QI and the research communities. We are definitely stronger together. And if we can learn from each other and really try to work on the same projects along the continuum from inception to KT, we're going to be able to have much bigger impact on our patient. And these 6 recommendations here are going to really help you in your own local setting. And I know you're telling yourself, well, Lucas, tell me, where can I go to publish my high impact, high yield paper in a journal that's going to be read across the world and is really going to have an impact on our community? Well, wait no more. Here's the QR code to the direct link to the CGEM submission guidelines, where you can learn more about how you can submit your paper, whether it is QIPS or not QIPS related. All of this is going to help our patient, our community, and our providers. And while you're at it, feel free to look at the rest of the volumes that we've published this year. A lot of great stuff in there you're going to be able to find. All right, team, that's it for me. Keep on improving. We're all in this together.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Alex Strachanov, and I'm chair of the 2021 CAEP Conference, hosted by the beautiful city of Winnipeg. I'm actually not in Winnipeg, just outside of Winnipeg at our cottage today, preparing it for my son, who's coming back from the US and will have to isolate for a couple of weeks. Strange times we live in, Tamara.
Strange times indeed, Alex. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Tamara McCall, and I'm the scientific chair for the CAEP Conference. So responsible for all of the awesome content that we have organized for you guys. Alex, I see that you're wearing the sim shirt from the Sim Olympiad in 2019. Thanks for dressing up for the occasion. Very nice.
Yes, this is my cottage wear, and this shirt reflects the last time we could actually meet in person at a conference. The University of Manitoba is still the reigning champs, but hopefully next year we'll all get together and there'll be a new champion, maybe even us. Anyway, although we're unable to meet face to face this year, our planning committee has worked tirelessly to put together an exciting program for you with topics and speakers that should satisfy every palate. You know, it's funny, I was thinking back to our conference planning back in March of 2020. We gathered at a hotel at the Forks, as it happens. We were with a number of colleagues from Saskatchewan, and we certainly had no idea what this year had in store for us. It was probably a week or two before the world would shut down, and we were busy discussing a possible conference theme, something that would tie everything together and give us a unifying purpose when we were planning the conference's granular details. My recollection is that we considered taglines like looking to the future or challenging perspectives, different voices, common goals, all great themes, but then the pandemic hit and we had to change our focus. And after much reflection, the theme rising to the challenge of a once in a century pandemic that swept upon us really like a tsunami and flooded our hospitals and certainly tested our resolve seemed the most appropriate.
Oh gosh, I completely agree, Alex. It's been a challenging year for all of us in a variety of ways. I mean, what a wild time to be an emergency physician, really. The pandemic has forced some introspection, I think, of our choice in profession, our priorities, our values as individuals, as frontline providers. And our work over the last 15 months will likely define us as individuals and collectively redefine our specialty even. And I think that sort of taps into the important work that you're doing, Alex, with the Future of Emergency Medicine Task Force. But really, we rose to the challenge and had a profound impact on patient care, local, national protocols, policy developments, educating and training hospital personnel, many advocacy initiatives, and really the list goes on. Our colleagues across the nation have been hard at work the last 15 months. And the theme of this year's conference, CAEP at the Forks, Rising to the Challenge, reflects the remarkable fortitude, adaptability, and resilience of our emergency colleagues coast to coast. So I think, at this point, why don't we highlight some of the remarkable work our planning committee has done to put together the best virtual care or virtual conference experience possible. So why don't we start with the plenary speakers, Alex?
Sure, Tamara. I mean, we have an absolutely incredible international lineup of plenary speakers, which, to be frank, was only made possible because of our virtual platform. We've been afforded a lot of flexibility by CAEP and by the plenary speakers themselves, and we have 9. That's right, 9 plenary speakers organized this year from Canada and all over the world. Maybe, what do you think? Should we take a minute to briefly highlight them individually?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay. So why don't we start off with our opening plenary, and this woman needs no introduction as she's the lead author of the most popular, most read emergency medicine textbook in history. So Dr. Judith Tintinelli is giving our open plenary, and I have heard her before and actually have very clear memories of her previous talks. In Mexico City at ISEM a couple of years ago, she was treated like a rock star. My recollection is that she needed an escort to the bathroom because there are so many people tagging along with her. But she's a wonderful speaker. And I spoke briefly with her about her subject matter. She wasn't specific about it, but the topic of her plenary is news of our world. I know that she's concerned, as are many of us, that COVID-19 has so flooded our journals and strained our ability to filter academic and scientific news that it's really difficult to look at it through the same critical lens. So stay tuned for her talk called News of the World, because it's going to be talking about news of the world with a particular focus on our emergency medicine world.
Oh, sounds fantastic, Alex. Also on day one, we have the amazing Derek Haas. So most of you are going to know her as the founder and CEO of FemIM, a blog and conference with a mission of promoting gender equity in emergency medicine. Now, Dara has also been a strong advocate for increased funding, PPE, supplies, public education throughout the pandemic after she herself became ill with COVID. So her talk here public communications in times of crisis is extremely topical, and I think it's going to resonate with all of us as we fought to do the same within our own regions. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
No, I am too as well. So ending the day on June 15th, we have a dynamic duo from down under. So doctors Eve Purdy and Victoria Brazel are going to be speaking to us. They both have advanced training and expertise in the areas of translational simulation and anthropology. And they have prepared an absolutely amazing plenary entitled CT Safe and Fast, Simulation for High Performance Teams Working in Complex Systems. I am not going to miss this plenary talk, and I hope you'll all tune in as well.
So then comes day two, and I mean, we have another exciting lineup for day two of the conference, and it all starts off with a debate on the topic of emergency medicine is a failed paradigm for the care of the critically ill. And that's with Dr. Scott Weingart and Ken Milne, two people who certainly need no introduction within our sort of larger emergency medicine community. This is going to be epic. It's essentially a debate about whether we are at our essence intensivists or broad-based primary acute care specialists. So I mean, this can have huge implications for education, training, as well as defining our role in the system. So I'm certainly really looking forward to this one, and I think it's going to draw big crowds.
Oh, I am too, Tamara. I mean, two very different practice areas, Scott in New York City and Ken in a more rural area, but both academic physicians and both with real great insights into the essence of our specialties. So really looking forward to that. After them, next up, we have the multi-talented Dr. Sarah Gray. Many of you know Sarah. She's a very well-known speaker, clinician, educator, and does both emergency medicine and critical care at St. Mike's in Toronto. One of the other hats she wears is as vice chair of the CAEP Wellness Committee and co-chair of the ED Wellness Program in Toronto. Throughout this pandemic, physician wellness has really entered the spotlight like never before. And so Sarah Gray has prepared an engaging and very topical plenary entitled, I Hate Yoga, Making Resilience Work for You. I can certainly relate to that, as I too hate yoga. And if I try doing a downward dog for you right now, you would know why.
Oh, this is going to be fantastic. Really looking forward to that one. So to end off the day, CAEP has brought back Dr. Kaveh Sajenia. Some of you might remember him from the CAEP Grand Rounds earlier in the year. He's actually a Winnipegger. He's originally from Winnipeg, Alex, and now in Toronto. So he kind of crossed over to the dark side there. And he's a professor and vice chair of quality and innovation with the Department of Medicine at U of T. And he's also editor emeritus of BMJ QNS and has a very broad-based and holistic view of research and QI for the common good, which we hope to incorporate into the CAEP Future of Emergency Medicine Task Force. So I think this is going to be another excellent talk. He's a very engaging speaker, and I'm certainly looking forward to it.
You all have to listen to Kaveh. He's not really one of us. He's an internist, but he's still an okay guy. I mean, he is really a terrific speaker. And indeed, I know his family very well. His father is a well-known internist who, before he retired, practiced at our hospital, St. Boniface Hospital, Tamara. So that'll be a terrific, but not the end of our plenaries. We haven't really gotten even through the final day of the conference, which is equally stacked with renowned and engaging speakers, including Dr. Lisa Richardson, who is organizing a panel on Indigenous healthcare in Canada. Dr. Richardson is very well known throughout the national medical community for her work in medical education and Indigenous health. She's the co-lead for Indigenous medical education and is vice chair of the Culture and Inclusion Committee at the University of Toronto. This is going to be a very important, timely, and exciting plenary.
Definitely looking forward to that. I've heard her speak on numerous occasions, and she's just amazing. It's going to be another don't miss session here. So next up for day 3, we have the amazing educator extraordinaire, Dr. Simon Carley from Manchester University. So another sort of out of Canada speaker here. And most of you will know Dr. Carley is the owner and editor-in-chief of St. Emmeline's blog and podcast and as well as his many speaking engagements at notable emergency medicine and critical care conferences. I've seen him speak a few times at SMAC, and he's phenomenal. He's also a reputable researcher and is a co-investigator for the recovery trial. And as such, Dr. Carley has prepared a very interesting, and I think is going to be a little bit controversial plenary that you definitely do not want to miss. So did SARS-CoV-2 kill evidence-based medicine? So definitely a don't miss plenary here.
Okay, did SARS-CoV-2 kill evidence-based medicine? That talk is worth seeing just for the title, but certainly Simon Carley is worth seeing anytime he talks. So that sounds fantastic, Tamara. I'm equally excited about our closing plenary with Mr. Andre Picard, well known from the Globe and Mail, but from many, many other things as well. He certainly needs no introduction, as he's generally considered Canada's top health journalist. He is a longtime friend and ally of CAEP and winner of many awards, including our esteemed CAEP Journalism Award a few years ago. He really has a vast understanding of the healthcare system and emergency medicine's role in the healthcare system. And his new book, which is entitled Neglected No More, will be very important to us, to our future of emergency medicine, as we contemplate our role in our growing geriatric population in Canada. It has a huge potential for our patients, but also for the way we work in emergency medicine in the department, the way we do research, the way we will be doing telehealth, and as I alluded to the future of emergency medicine Canada and the task force that is just starting up at this conference.
That's fantastic, Alex. I'm really excited for this incredible lineup for our closing plenary for all of it. Why don't we switch gears here and talk a little bit about some of the other program that we have planned, because this is just such a small piece of the conference. We have so much more to talk about. So we've organized many pre-conference and evening workshops. In fact, 15 total. I was counting today, Alex. 15. I can't believe it. I don't think I've attended a previous conference that had 15 workshops. But unfortunately, we just don't have the time today to discuss each of them individually. But they're certainly up on the website. You guys can access them when you have an opportunity. They're all handpicked by our planning committee, and all will be excellent. So I think people will have some difficulty choosing, because of their high caliber, which one to attend and which evening to attend. So our conference planning committee has ensured that they're all going to be recorded, and they're all going to be accessible on demand to every single participant who registers for the conference. In fact, all content for this conference is going to be available on demand. All plenaries, all tracks, every talk, every workshop will be available for 6 months after the conference is finished. So really, you can catch every talk whenever it's convenient for you.
So 6 months of CPD in 3 or 4 days sounds like a decent proposition. And speaking of programming, Tamara, this is probably a good time to highlight the academic symposium, as well as a few of the tracks we have planned for this year. Dr. Rod Lim, who's chair of our wellness committee and leading our symposium, our pre-conference symposium, as well as a few of our terrific track chairs, have prepared brief recorded videos promoting their tracks and telling you a little bit about the speakers and the content they're in. So let's just watch a few of those.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rod Lim. I'm the leadership chair for the leadership committee as part of the academic section for CAEP.
Hi, everyone. I'm Judy Morris from Montreal, and I'm assisting Rod as the vice chair of the leadership committee.
We are so excited to bring you the academic symposium centered around equity, diversity, and inclusion in emergency medicine on the Monday as a pre-conference prior to the start of CAEP.
And during that symposium, we'll have 3 groups that are going to present to you the work that they've been doing over the past year, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been working so hard. Our first panel, led by Dr. Jennifer Bryan, is focusing on how should CAPE best engage in sustained action to counter the impacts of racism and colonialism in emergency medicine. That group has worked so hard and has met with so many different stakeholders. We're so excited for them to be able to present their work to you.
The second panel, led by Emma McIlveen-Brown, and that includes also a lot of members of the CAPE WEMS committee, will focus on and talk to you about promoting gender equity in our emergency departments across the country.
And our third panel, led by Dr. Robert Primavisi, is looking at the education about sexual and gender minorities within Canadian emergency medicine residency programs. Again, an amazing panel, bringing very important work on the topics of EDI.
Yeah, and we'll also have the chance to have great plenary speaker during the symposium as well.
That's right. We have Dr. Salim Razak, who will be giving us a plenary lecture on equity, diversity, and inclusion. And we also have Dr. Saru Sharda, who will be presenting a lecture on the importance of intersectionality with this kind of work.
Yeah, we're happy to have the symposium kickstart the CAPE 21 virtual conference. So it's a rendezvous. Please join us on the 14th.
And I know we wanted to meet in person, but I think this is such important work. We're so excited to be a part of this CAPE conference, and we're looking forward to the beginning of more normalcy in all of our lives. I know that this has been quite a difficult year and a half for all of us in our profession, but I'm so proud of all of us for getting through this pandemic.
Bye.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. My name's Omar Youssef. I'm an emergency physician at St. Boniface Hospital here in Winnipeg, and along with Lisa Thurger from Ottawa and Brent Toma from Saskatchewan, we are your co-chairs for the Core EM track for CAPE. So what is Core EM? Well, Core EM covers the bread and butter of emergency medicine, and it's delivered by passionate speakers that we've gathered from across our country. Simply put, it's what you need to know for your next shift in the emergency department. Let's go take a look at our list of excellent speakers. So Core EM is going to be running June 15th, 16th, and 17th with excellent sessions throughout the day. Because we have so many speakers, I'm just going to highlight a few of them, such as Dr. Jen Lepard, who's going to be talking to us on June 15th about my nightmare scenario, which is obstetrical deliveries in the emergency department. We have Peter Johns that's going to be sharing with us his obsession for vertigo and helping us make a confident diagnosis. We have Dr. Jeff Clausen, who is going to give us an overview of SVT and giving us tips and tricks in terms of management of SVT and coming to the correct diagnosis. We have Dr. Catherine Tong, who's going to be walking us through some select ENT emergencies, such as nasal fracture and auricular hematomas. Dr. Lee Graham is going to give us an overview of eye emergencies, helping us figure out what the follow-up plan is for select emergencies, and talking about something called the Van Hurich technique, which sounds very interesting and definitely not made up. Dr. Stella Yu is going to help us categorize emergency dermatologic rashes. And Dr. Rob Olay is going to be walking us through acute aortic syndromes, giving us some evidence-based tips in terms of diagnosis and the initial steps in managing these very unwell patients. Wow, those sessions look fantastic. And best of all, I'll be able to enjoy them from the comfort of my own home because everything will be online. I know what many of you are thinking and are too afraid to ask. And the answer is yes. Like all online meetings, wearing pants is optional. That makes this conference our very first official pantsless CAPE ever. This ambitious and historic milestone can be enjoyed anytime from anywhere because once you've registered, you'll have access to on-demand content from all of our sessions. Because our content is going to be delivered online and you'll have access to the sessions after CAEP is done. That means you won't have to choose between coming to our excellent Core EM track or COVID. You would be able to watch both. So take a look at our schedule. There's so much to see and do in the mornings and afternoons. And again, know that all of this will be available to you after CAEP is concluded. So please, come join us for this historic PANS-free CAEP. Enjoy our excellent CME, curated and delivered by our passionate physicians from across the country, and learn tips and pearls that can be used on your next shift in the emergency department. Importantly, stay safe, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Okay, I think I'm done recording this. How do I turn this off?
Hi, everyone. I'm Carmen Rymack from Winnipeg, and I'm co-chairing the 2021 CAEP QUIPS track with Dr. Lucas Chartier. Lucas and I are excited about our incredible speakers this year. As a general theme, our track this year is focused on current issues as they relate to QI, in particular equity, COVID-19, and virtual learning. As a quick preview of what to expect from the QUIPS track, I will tell you we have 3 exciting sections. To start off, we have Dr. Louis Hart from New York City Health and Hospital. Dr. Hart will be giving a talk on ingraining equity lenses into quality improvement and patient safety work. This critical topic will show us how to enhance the equity dimension within our quality work. In our next section, we have a group of Canadian QI leaders covering topics dedicated to maintaining quality and safety during COVID-19. Reaching for QI to solve pandemic challenges with Dr. Sean Mondeau, then going to the COVID-19 GEMBA, where Dr. Jennifer Thal-Friedman will show us how to combine the powers of high reliability and observation to achieve safety in a crisis. And next, Dr. Jeff Clausen will cover maintaining patient safety during COVID-19. Our final section is called Virtually There, a panel on the future of quality and safety training and education. This live panel featuring Dr. Christine Shea and Dr. Ahmed Taher will discuss how education has changed in the pandemic, including quality safety education. They will give us practical ways of optimizing virtual learning, which is here to stay. There will be time for interactive live questions and discussions with all of our presenters. We are looking forward to the entire conference, but if I was to pick one talk outside of our track to watch for, it would be Dr. Kaveh Shojania's plenary session, which will be sure to engage QUIPS enthusiasts everywhere. Stay safe, everyone, and we hope to see you live on June 16th.
Welcome. We're your track chairs. I'm Rob Woods, and here's my amazing colleague Teresa Chan. We're really looking forward to the education track, and we just wanted to highlight a few things. So one of the things I'm really excited about are the plenaries. We have Lisa Calder talking about the intersection between medical education and CMPA and her new role as lead. Then we have Michael Gottlieb talking about branding. Teresa Warkow talking about innovations in clerkship education, finishing off with Fareen Zaver talking about transition to practice, which will be amazing talks. How about you, Teresa? What are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to the workshops as well. And we have 2 amazing workshops. One of them I'll have Rob speak to because he's in it, but the first one is a workshop on sponsorship. So not sponsorship in the way that we talk about with pharma companies, for instance, sponsoring a conference, but sponsorship as in helping someone else rise. And so we have Alia Ramsey and Dennis Cho presenting that. And Rob, maybe I'll have you speak to yours.
Sure. So that will be an amazing workshop, but I think ours will be as well. So I'm working with CAEP Pardon and Lindsay Martin, and we're doing a workshop on best practices in work-based assessment. So we're going to teach you how to do better with your narrative comments when you do direct observation assessments and get beyond the keep reading and good job and strong work and get some really useful, meaningful comments that can help all the end users.
Excellent.
And then Teresa, our last week, transition from there into our education innovations competition. That's run by Tamara McCall and Andrew Hall, where we have 3 of our top innovations submitted to the CAEP abstract competition, and you as the audience get to vote on that.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for all of this stuff. It's going to be a really great time. So hopefully you can join us for this.
Yeah, so Wednesday afternoon to the CAPE conference, make sure you tune into the CAPE education track.
Hello, I'm Ken Mill. Do you love reading the literature and critically appraising the medical literature as much as I do? Probably not. And that may be why CAPE asked me to be the track chair for the recent EM literature at this year's CAPE conference. Now, there are 3 objectives to this track. The first objective is to raise awareness. How can you practice at the top of your level if you're not aware of the latest and most impactful emergency medicine literature? And so we want to make sure that you are aware of what's new in the field of emergency medicine when it comes to the literature. The second thing that we want you to learn as an objective is to how to critically appraise a paper. Now, just because it was published in, I don't know, CGEM, doesn't mean it's necessarily true. You still have to probe the literature for its validity. And we hope to provide you with some of those clinical skills and abilities in this track. And the third objective is to be skeptical. Now, it's not nihilism, it's not denialism, it's healthy scientific skepticism. The time to accept a claim is when there's sufficient evidence to accept the claim. So those are the 3 objectives for the EM literature track at CAPE 2021. We want to raise awareness about the recent literature. We want to have you learn some critical appraisal skills and, of course, encourage skepticism. I've assembled 3 amazing medical educators to answer the question, what is some of the latest and most important emergency medicine literature? These are international, award-winning experts on critical appraisal and knowledge translation. They will provide you, the CAPE audience, with high-impact information. The speakers will filter out that signal from all the noise and cut that knowledge translation window down from over 10 years to less than 1 year. The ultimate goal, of course, is from this CAPE track, you will get patients the best care based on the best evidence. Joining us from the US, we have recent Society of Academic Emergency Medicine FOMED Excellence in Education Award winner, Dr. Lauren Westerfer. She's a rising star in our profession. Lauren is an assistant professor in the Department of Emergency Medicine at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, co-founder of Foamcast, and social media editor and research methodology editor for Annals of Emergency Medicine. Dr. Westerfer's area of interest include pulmonary embolism and implementation science. Next up, we have pediatric emergency medicine superhero, Dr. Samina Ali from the University of Alberta. Her research is focused on improving the assessment and treatment of children's pain. Samina is currently an executive member of the Pediatric Emergency Research Canada Group, or PERC, and is a faculty member with the Pain in Children's Health. Dr. Ali is a pain content advisor for translating emergency knowledge for kids, or TREC. Now, rounding out this trifecta of fantastic international award-winning educators is Dr. Kirsty Challen. She's a consultant in emergency medicine and the emergency medicine research lead at Lancaster Teaching Hospital in the UK. She's also the chair of the Royal College of Emergency Medicine Women in Emergency Medicine. Dr. Challen's superpower is that she can take an entire paper and condense it and summarize it into one picture, which she calls a paper in a pic. And she does this for the Academic Emergency Medicine Journal. So let's go back to the objectives for this track, the EM literature track at CAPE 2021. The first objective is we want you to be aware of the recent EM literature. Second thing we want to do is we want to teach some critical appraisal skills. And the third and final thing is to encourage healthy scientific skepticism. I hope to meet you at the Forks on June 15th, 2021 and see Dr. Ali, Dr. Westifer, and Dr. Chalin rise to the challenge. See you at CAPE 2021.
Wow, that was fantastic, Alex. The symposium is going to be incredible. And what a lineup of tracks and speakers, really. Despite being a virtual format and perhaps losing the immediate connection of being in the same place and networking face-to-face, the virtual format really has afforded us greater flexibility with speaker selection. And as a result, we have an incredible program organized this year, as you can all see. And this conference is going to do it all. We have world-class speakers, opportunities for high-level scientific discourse, abilities to network, join new groups, meet new people, virtually tour the beautiful city of Winnipeg, as well as the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, the way that a person would in person. And the virtual tours will be interactive and will be live. And after the tours, you can join the wine tasting masterclass with Dr. Al Drummond. You can step into the mixology room and shake up a couple cocktails with Drs. Brandon Ritzy and Patrick Boreski. And we have fitness classes in the mornings, a 5K and 10K fun run. We have paint classes organized, an escape room, a trivia night, and some comedic relief. Like really, we have activities to satisfy every palate. This conference really does offer the full package and certainly is not one that you'll want to miss.
That is fantastic, Tamara. And if that's not enough to you, I just decided I was going to offer a class on yoga for pre-beginners.
That I would sign up and pay to see.
It would be worth the price, but you would not get any exercise. Well, thanks for that last bit, Tamara. I think you really summarized things very well. And we are running out of time, but I just wanted to end by saying that we're well aware of how much access there is out there to excellent virtual CPD. So we have worked very, very hard to attract the best teachers from Canada and abroad. But I think that we've realized over the years, and particularly this year, that the networking, which we miss so much, is just as important as the talks themselves. The opportunity to learn in a community of peers, and then to connect afterwards. You should know that our talented planning committee has worked very hard to make both the learning and the connecting possible. This really is an event that none of you will want to miss, and neither Tamara nor I are biased, of course, but we're certainly hoping to see you all with us next month to learn together and to celebrate our community of incredible physicians who have truly risen to the challenge over this past year. Come join us.
Join us.